Did you know that many Golden Age actors were wildly popular with women, not just for their dashing looks, but for their size? These stars were so well endowed that anyone who had the chance to experience it often spoke about it afterward. Today, we're going to reveal the actors who were famously, or perhaps infamously, well endowed in the Golden Age of Hollywood. Believe me, the sizes will truly astonish you. Gary Cooper. Hollywood heartthrobs enjoyed as robust a reputation as Gary Cooper. A tall, Montana-born leading man of the 1930s to 50s, Cooper was famous for his rugged charm on screen and his legendary prowess off-screen. He seduced a who's who of leading ladies, from silent-era It Girl, Clara Bow, to ingenue Grace Kelly with such frequency that one quip joked he laid more pipe than the Manhattan sewer system. His voracious womanizing left him literally weakened at times. After a steamy European affair with socialite Countess Di Frasso, a witticism by actress Tallulah Bankhead that he'd been utterly exhausted by the Countess's amorous demands. Cooper's big sky was matched by big other things, according to Tinseltown lore. His fiery Latina lover, Lupe Velez, purportedly bragged that Cooper has the biggest organ in Hollywood. In other words, Gary's endowment was unrivaled, even if Velez jokingly poked fun at his technique. Indeed, many in Hollywood believed Cooper was exceptionally well-equipped. Biographers note that Marilyn Monroe once giggled that her co-star had a special kind of rifle in his holster, a playful nod to Cooper's below-the-belt gifts. Whether or not that quote is apocryphal, it's clear the tall tales about Cooper's anatomy were widespread. Even on film sets, the way Coop filled out a pair of tight pants did not go unnoticed. By all accounts, Gary Cooper's naughty reputation was earned. He reportedly slept with every single co-star he ever had, and his countless mistresses spoke of his stamina and size in hushed, admiring tones. One later writer noted that Hollywood women knew Cooper for his huge endowment and incredible stamina in bed. True or exaggerated, tales of Coop's gigantic gunslinger have become part of Hollywood's risque folklore. This all-American hero wasn't just tall in the saddle. If gossip is to be believed, he was downright colossal below the belt, making him a charter member of Hollywood's not-so-secret big club of leading men. But so is the equipment that helped make him a legend in the first place. Humphrey Bogart on screen. Humphrey Bogart was the tough-talking, whiskey-voiced star of films like Casablanca and The Maltese Falcon. Off-screen, Bogey wasn't especially known as a ladies' man compared to some peers, yet rumors swirled about his hidden ahem talents. While Bogart stood only about 5 feet 8 inches, Hollywood whispers insisted he was proportioned quite generously where it counted. In fact, one risque showbiz compendium flat out claimed sources said Bogey sported a pendulously long manhood. Yes, you read that right. Apparently, Bogey was bogarting an oversized cigar in his trousers. Contemporaries noted that Bogart exuded a confident swagger around women, perhaps explained by these long rumors. He married 4 times and had a well-known affair or two, suggesting he certainly didn't lack bedroom charisma. Some who knew him joked that Bogey's legendary confidence came from knowing he had an ace up his sleeve. Indeed, comedian Phil Silvers once cracked that standing next to Bogart at a urinal was intimidating, and that Bogey could knock 'em dead with more than just a one-liner. But they reinforced the idea that this Hollywood icon was packing heat off camera. Unlike other stars, Bogart himself never publicly addressed these rumors. He was far too dignified for that. A naughty hint at his supposed ample endowment. In truth, we'll likely never know how well-endowed Bogart truly was. His private life stayed mostly private, and wife Lauren Bacall kept such intimacies to herself. The pendulous legend persists in Hollywood lore. It adds an extra chuckle to Bogart's famous line, "Here's looking at you, kid," because, according to rumor, we were looking at him in the buff. We'd be in for quite a big surprise. Charlie Chaplin. He may have been known as the Little Tramp, but Charlie Chaplin apparently wasn't little in every department. This silent film pioneer, with his bowler hat, cane, and comedic waddle, secretly carried what gossip columns coyly dubbed the eighth wonder of the world. Yes, believe it or not, Chaplin's ahem physical endowment was the stuff of legend in early Hollywood. Tinseltown Talk had it that Chaplin's own member was so notable, he jokingly referred to it as the world's eighth wonder. And many a starlet from the 1910s and 20s would likely have agreed. He married 4 times and kept a virtual harem of mistresses. By one account, Charlie bedded over 2,000 women in his lifetime. He fathered 11 children, which certainly suggests he wasn't lacking in virility. Actresses who encountered Chaplin off-camera quietly whispered about his huge asset. One later writer noted Hollywood women knew him for his huge size and incredible stamina in bed, claiming Chaplin could perform 6 times in a row. It seems that while Charlie was making the world laugh on screen, he was making quite a few lovers very happy off-screen. Despite his short stature and comedic persona, Chaplin evidently possessed a truly outsized trouser talent. What is documented is the gossip. Silent-era chorus girls giggled that Chaplin's equipment was no joke. Decades later, tabloids reported the rumor that Chaplin's organ had been nicknamed and spoken of in hushed awe. Chaplin himself remained silently mum on the topic, but those close to him were less discreet. As one contemporary wag put it, he may have played the tramp, but Charlie certainly wasn't short-changed in life. Innuendos aside, this comedy legend's bedroom legacy proves he had more than just comedic balls. He apparently had the whole package, and then some. Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle. Fatty Arbuckle is one of Hollywood's earliest scandals, and lurking in that scandal was an outrageous rumor about his extraordinary anatomy. Arbuckle was a beloved silent-era comedian, portly prankster whose nickname Fatty belied a gentle nature. He was embroiled in a notorious trial for the death of actress Virginia Raft after a wild party. Sensational tabloids claimed Arbuckle had crushed or injured the young starlet during a sexual encounter. One salacious rumor even alleged that his ahem gigantic appendage fatal internal damage. As one contemporary insider crudely put it, the delicate starlet's bladder had been burst by Arbuckle's gigantic size. Yes, they literally blamed his size for her death. Arbuckle was acquitted of all charges, and Raft's death was likely due to other causes. The jury even apologized to him, recognizing he'd been the victim of vicious gossip. But the legend of his deadly endowment persisted in lurid lore. Overnight, Fatty Arbuckle's anatomy became a morbid punchline. So well endowed it should be registered as a lethal weapon. Some wags quipped that the FBI would need a special permit for that kind of firearm. Arbuckle himself, understandably, never found these jokes funny. The scandal wrecked his career for years. By the 1930s, in hushed Hollywood gossip circles, Fatty's supposed weapon of mass destruction below the belt, close friends maintained the rumors were absurd exaggerations. The tale had taken on a life of its own. Arbuckle was a big man in every sense, but whether he was truly that big, only his intimates knew. Even something as outrageous as a fatal phallus. Today, film buffs remember Arbuckle for his comedic talent and tragic downfall. Yet even now, a dark comic footnote to his story remains. In the annals of Hollywood lore, Roscoe Arbuckle is forever the man who was literally too much for one woman to handle. Warren Beatty. No list of Hollywood Lotharios is complete without Warren Beatty, the matinee idol of the 1960s to 70s whose romantic exploits are the stuff of legend. Beatty's off-screen love life was so prolific that a biographer once estimated he'd slept with 12,775 women in his first 5 decades, an eye-popping number Beatty himself has politely denied. But beyond quantity, rumor has it Warren brought some serious equipment to the party. Women who have enjoyed Beatty's amorous advances swear that he is hung like a donkey. That colorful description certainly suggests Hyde's Bonnie had more than just charm going for him. Throughout the swinging 60s and beyond, Beatty's conquests included some of the most beautiful women in showbiz. Natalie Wood, Julie Christie, Brigitte Bardot, Diane Keaton, Madonna, list goes on. Gossip columnists often wondered what made him so irresistible. He was handsome and charismatic, but whispers hinted at another asset, Warren's Big Beatty, so to speak. Even his sister, actress Shirley MacLaine, once joked about his exhaustive dating life, implying he just couldn't say no, and neither could his partners. Some in Hollywood cheekily speculated that Beatty's legendary endowment was part of his allure, but he hasn't exactly shied from a playboy image. In interviews, he acknowledges he was a dog in his younger years, without detailing why so many women found him unforgettable. His longtime pal, Jack Nicholson, ribbed that Warren had the greatest seduction lines ever, and something to back them up. Whether that something referred to charm or physical gifts, you can guess what the gossip mill decided. Today, happily married to Annette Bening, Beatty has settled down. Yet, the myth of Warren, in his prime, lives on. The nearly 13,000 romantic encounters and a manhood of almost mythical proportion. True or exaggerated, it cements Beatty's status as Hollywood's ultimate Casanova. With a reputation as big as the donkey, famous comparison, and that's saying something, Michael Caine, international film icon, Sir Michael Caine, is known for his Cockney charm and acting chops. But according to gossip, young Michael also packed a notable British secret weapon below the belt. In the swinging 60s, Caine emerged as a playboy figure. Off-camera, he had his share of romances before settling down. And if rumors are to be believed, part of his success with the ladies may have been anatomical. One salacious book on celebrity endowments stated flatly that the British actor, Michael Caine, is known to be a talented lover. Recall Caine enjoying London's nightlife alongside pals like Terence Stamp and Peter O'Toole. He wasn't shy about flirting up a storm. One of his ex-girlfriends cheekily told a London tabloid that Michael had more to offer than just an accent. Another rumor claims that during the filming of The Italian Job, Wardrobe had to adjust his pants. There was too much of Mr. Caine showing. It certainly fits the narrative that the tailor had to mind the gap, so to speak. Caine has been happily married for decades and generally avoids scandal. He hasn't publicly addressed any below-the-belt rumors. True gentleman never tells. He joked about enjoying the perks of fame in the 60s, being naughty before marriage. Fellow actor Jackie Fisher once quipped, "Michael could charm the birds off the trees." Whether or not Sir Michael's London Bridge is as big as rumored, the idea adds a cheeky twinkle when watching his young films. As Alfie might say, what's it all about? In Caine's case, perhaps it was about a bit more than just suave charm, perhaps about 8 inches more, if the legends hold true. Steve McQueen, the king of cool, was the ultimate macho movie star of the 60s and 70s, a rebel on wheels with a defiant smirk. But according to one of his lovers, the most jaw-dropping thing about McQueen wasn't his attitude or his motorcycles, it was his anatomy. Her description of Steve's manhood has become infamous. Like 2 Coors beer cans welded together. Let that sink in. 2 beer cans welded together. In other words, enormous girth and length. That vivid metaphor has been cited in more than one Hollywood tell-all, cementing McQueen's reputation as perhaps one of the most astoundingly endowed leading men ever. It certainly aligns with McQueen's persona. He lived life large. Fast cars, high-risk hobbies, and passionate affairs. Steve was a notorious womanizer. Despite being married, he carried on multiple flings. Many of his conquests were discreet, but some couldn't help gushing about his specs. One ex-girlfriend confidentially remarked that Steve's ego isn't the only big thing about him. Another hinted that everything about McQueen was king size. He even did nudity in the film The Getaway. Keen-eyed observers claimed a certain shower scene moment confirmed what the gossip suggested. McQueen himself had a cocky sense of humor. On a Johnny Carson appearance, Johnny joked about men who overcompensate with sports cars. McQueen smirked and replied, "Well, I don't know anything about that, John." Co-star and close friend James Coburn once ribbed that Steve could drive any car and satisfy any woman. Man's got horsepower. Sadly, McQueen died young, taking some secrets to the grave. But tales of his beer can proportions live on in Hollywood lore. Next time you watch Bullitt or The Magnificent Seven, consider that the coolest man in the room might have been carrying some extra weight in those tight jeans. It adds a whole new dimension to his nickname, the King of Cool. Perhaps we should call him the King of Cruel, given how many fans swoon imagining that outrageous two-beer can image. John Ireland. Actor John Ireland might not be a household name today, but in classic Hollywood he was known as a rugged character actor, and apparently a charter member of an exclusive club, what comedian Harry Ritz dubbed the Long Schlong Club. Ireland's physical endowment was gossip fodder among his peers. In a 1970s interview, surviving Ritz brother Harry Ritz cheekily revealed that he, actor Forrest Tucker, and John Ireland considered themselves founding members of the Long Schlong Club, even trading tips on handling their considerable assets in public. In the 1950s, while co-starring with her, a fling so hot-tempered that Crawford supposedly had Ireland fired when things went south. Crawford, not one to mince words, later hinted that Ireland was no peanut, but he drove me nuts. He also briefly married sexy starlet Tuesday Weld, fueling gossip that worldly Ireland must have had some special appeal to land the teen bombshell. Ireland himself stayed mum publicly. He didn't shy from raunchy humor with friends. On a golf outing, when a buddy teased John about his errant swing, typical locker room exaggeration perhaps, but rooted in his real legend. Hollywood's inner circle certainly considered John Ireland one of the long ones. So while modern movie fans may say, "John who?" classic gossip hounds remember him as John Ireland, as in a land that was allegedly huge in the lower regions. In the end, he left behind solid film performances, a trail of fascinated actresses. George Raft. Back in Hollywood's golden age, George Raft cut a dashing figure. A former gangster associate turned actor, famous for his slicked-back hair and fancy footwork. Raft often played stylish mobsters on screen, but behind the scenes, rumor has it that Raft was very well endowed, earning him admiring nicknames like George Draft among chorus girls. In fact, Tallulah Bankhead, never one to hold her tongue, implied that her fling with Raft was wild and memorable. Contemporary gossip put Raft firmly in the well-hung club of Hollywood. One scandal rag flat out listed him among Tinseltown's most horse-hung stars, citing a supposed 12-inch endowment, a full foot long. While such claims are impossible to verify, they certainly boosted Raft's mystique. It doesn't seem too far-fetched considering his reputation as a ladies' man. Raft had high-profile romances with the likes of Marlene Dietrich and Betty Grable. Grable, America's 1940s sweetheart, once cryptically commented that George was the protégé of an old friend, and more, raising eyebrows. Even notorious gossip columnist Floribel Muir wrote that showgirls who dated Raft came away very impressed, in more ways than one. Raft's background in the New York underworld also added to the aura. Indeed, an apocryphal story claims that during a dance rehearsal, a partner gasped, "Just my lucky charm." True or not, it's a delicious piece of Hollywood lore. By the time Raft was an older man, his Casanova days had cooled, and he was more known for hosting casino high rollers than chasing skirts. But the whispers never fully died. Even in the 1980s, comedian Buddy Hackett on a talk show recalled seeing George in a locker room and said with a laugh, "The host didn't press for details, but the audience chuckled knowingly." In George Raft's case, the enduring whisper is that this silver screen gangster was carrying a truly loaded gun. Chico Marx, the Marx brothers, were famed for their comedy, but it seems Chico Marx, the eldest brother, known as the piano-playing, girl-chasing cut-up, had a physical gag of his own, so to speak. Off-screen, Chico was a notorious womanizer, reputed to have slept with thousands of chorus girls during the vaudeville days. According to Hollywood lore, Chico wasn't just enthusiastic with the ladies. Comedian Jerry Lewis once claimed that in a steam room, he heard someone quip, "Move over, Groucho." While Groucho Marx was cracking wise on screen, Chico was cracking bedposts off-screen. Chico Marx as a card-carrying member of Hollywood's well-endowed elite. When discussing endowment, writer H. Allen Smith once wrote a playful list of big men in town and added, "And don't forget a Marx brother, not Groucho, the other one." Everyone knew he meant Chico. Even Jackie Gleason reportedly included Chico in a locker room quip about which stars had the biggest packages, ranking him alongside heavy hitters like Milton Berle and Forrest Tucker. Same club, no pun intended. That club, of course, being the informal fraternity of famously well-endowed funny men. While hard evidence is scarce, this was long before leaked selfies and tell-all memoirs. The oral history consistently places Chico among the top-tier trouser talents of old Hollywood. He was the ultimate example of the trope that funny guys are secretly well-endowed. So next time you watch a Marx Brothers flick, pay attention when Chico is at the piano waggling his eyebrows. The double entendres were flying and, if legend held, he had plenty to double with. Innuendos aside, Chico Marx's lasting legacy isn't just that he made audiences roar with laughter. It's that in certain private audiences, he apparently made the ladies roar with delight, courtesy of his not-so-little Chico.